Hello, Bear Right Trail community. Um, just wanted to take a few moments here before today's episode that was recorded just last night in order to clear up a few things that get addressed in the episode. So we had a few issues with Noah Dusseau's recording throughout. Um, just wanted to share that he has plans later this season. He has bigger vision goals that he shared with me after the podcast. Um, he is going to be out at Twisted Fork later this year, and trying to start stepping up to maybe that 100-mile distance a little bit later on in the year, possibly too, and continuing that golden ticket chase that many young guys and gals like himself are on. Each and every year. Certainly think that Noah is well on his way to grabbing one of those tickets. And hoping to get into big mountain ultras as well. So excited to see those types of things. Also, unfortunately, we mentioned that Karen Dunn would be joining us on this podcast. She was never able to make it onto the recording. Karen was the 50K champion at the Hyner Trail Challenge, and it was a challenge for her. I got to speak with her after the event, after she had gone to medical, taken the ambulance to the hospital in order to get her recovered. She said that she felt like this one was she really had to go deep, and it pushed her really hard. Was quite out of it at the end of the race. This was a hot race, unseasonably hot after an unseasonably cool spring for us here on the East Coast, and so a lot of people really suffered. That was probably what you would call a um, race director's nightmare there during the later hours of that race when a lot of people were needing assistance. And thank you so much to the volunteers who were out there, to the EMS, to the professionals who were taking care of everybody, and just quite an event all around. But we'll get right into this celebration with the champions of Hyner. Hello and welcome to the Bear Right Trail podcast. I am, of course, your host, Sam Kirk, here with my co-host, Chris Lures, and a host of, I'm such an asshole, of other guests tonight for our recap of Hyner, the Hyner Trail Challenge. We've got everybody from all the events coming in here tonight, and we have the champions. So, Chris, I gotta expect you're stoked after just a devastating DNF.
Yeah, stoked. Love the weekend. Yeah, the race and the march of shame back to the starting line wasn't great, but I got to see Sam about to pass out after the race, so I got to see that. I got to talk to Andrew, and you know what? I dropped so early and stumbled my way back. I saw Noah finish. That was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I did not get to chat with Alicia, but happy that she could hop on here tonight. So super excited to kick it off. One of my favorite weekends of the year. Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it, Sam. Let's jump right in there.
Yeah, so announcing our champions from the Hyner Trail Challenge at the 25K distance tonight. We have Alicia Cutter in the house. Andrew Andrew Hutchinson on the men's side. I'm reading, also known as Hutch, on the men's side of the 25K distance, and Noah Dusseau, our new 50K course record holder on the men's side. And we expect to see Karen Dunn join us here tonight as well once again, expecting her to make a full recovery and make it onto the podcast tonight. So, welcome all. Welcome all. Thanks for joining us here tonight, guys.
Thank you, guys. It's great. It was
Thank
great.
you.
Champion circle here, Sam. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not worthy. A race that is so close to my heart. I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
we're not. So we're,
No.
we're just going to facilitate here.
Yeah.
So, would love to just get to know you guys a little bit better. Welcome you here, and Andrew, let's start with you. Our 25K champion out of Harrisburg. Tell us a little bit about your journey into trail running. What brings you to the sport, and kind of what makes you you.
All right. Well, it starts all the way back when I was born. It's going to be a long story. No, I'm not going to start there.
Please, we've got time. We have no constraints here.
We'd be here all night. Yeah. So been running since 6th grade, maybe. They dragged me out to cross country practice. Started running in khaki cargo shorts. It was great. Didn't immediately love it. Don't know when that switch flipped to enjoying running. I still don't know if I always enjoy running. So ran all through high school. I'm originally from Massachusetts. So I'm a New England boy at heart. I don't know why I live in Pennsylvania, but I do. So I went to school down here. I went to Messiah University. Ran cross country and track there. Really enjoyed my time. Loved running there. Liked running fast. Did mostly distance, focused kind of 5K, 10K, but got down in the 1500 and mile as well. And I've just always been passionate about mountain sports. Grew up mountain biking, grew up skiing, loved hiking. I was a Boy Scout. Always kind of knew I'd make it in the trail running at some point. Although my hands were tied in the NCAA system, I couldn't go and break myself jumping off a rock. So I had to kind of wait on that until I got out of college. So graduated. And since then, I've just kind of been pursuing stuff on the trails. Just been fun. I think I've probably done 6 or 7 trail races. Done Hyner. I'm wearing a Loon Mountain shirt right now. I've done Cat's Tail Marathon. I did the View. Some other local races, and just enjoying experimenting with trails and doing something different, coming off the track and cross country. So it's been a lot of fun.
And you're coaching, right?
I do. So I'm actually a teacher. I teach 4th through 12th grade band at a school in Mechanicsburg.
Nice.
So I teach during the day, and then my side hustle is coaching after school. So I do cross country and track. So I'm in the depths track season right now.
Oh, great.
Yep, for high school. So
okay. Great.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Nice.
Awesome, Andrew. And I'm glad you made it out of that strict NIL deal that you had at Messiah. Able to get out on the trails now.
Oh yeah, I'm free to jump off as many rocks as I want.
Well, you're probably jumping off a few rocks at Hyner, running up Johnson's Run a little bit.
Yeah.
We spoke, got to speak with you a little bit for a few minutes at least, right after you finished. What a brutal day heat was. I mean, like, what, coming off of course, the winter season, and we had a few warmer days, but man, that was brutal. So how did the race go for you? Like, when did you break away from sort of that lead pack, and how did the race sort of play out?
Chris, I'm gonna hit pause here for a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna hit pause because I don't want to get into the race just yet.
Oh.
All right. I don't want to get into the race just yet.
Okay.
I want to meet everybody, and then we'll get into race and shooting around race day and all that kind of stuff.
All right. So there you go.
So I'm gonna redirect just a little bit
Okay.
here.
All right.
So
Hold that thought then, Andrew.
yeah. So Andrew,
I hope it doesn't stick away from me. We'll see. I'll try really hard, Chris.
Can you write it down? Jot it down. You're not going to hurt.
Yeah. Let me find some paper here.
All right.
See.
All right, Sam. What direction are we going, please?
Well, here's the connection I'm making. So Andrew, from Massachusetts originally, we're gonna make our way up there to Alicia, who resides there now. Came back down to Pennsylvania to race and get to know her a little bit and about her journey into trail. We're gonna pretend we didn't hear anything about it pre-podcast and act surprised and just like, whoa, it's so cool. So Alicia, welcome, and let's get to know you as well. What has brought you into this community? Do you have some connections to the area? What let's get into Alicia Cutter here.
Yeah, so kind of similar. Been running for a while. I started in high school, cross country track. Also similar where I don't think I liked it at all. At that point, I just complained a lot. And so I ended up kind of like jumping ahead, but I did do this race in high school with my dad once, and I complained the whole time. I didn't like it. I think I walked the whole thing. And to this day, that race still affects my ultra sign up score, which is super frustrating. But yeah, I ran in high school, went to go run in college, but just had really bad luck with like on the coaching end of things and transferring mid scholarship year, and then couldn't compete like D1 or D2 because of that. I ultimately ended up at UVM in Vermont, and by the time I wanted to run there, I was unknowingly severely anemic. So I was going to the doctor. It just never came up, I guess. So for a few years, I just was getting slower and slower and slower and didn't really know it until like 2018. I just randomly went to urgent care and the guy called and was like, "Do you know you're severely anemic?" So I ended up dealing with that. When I did get my like iron results back, my ferritin was 1 and my iron saturation was too low to be calculated. So I was dead essentially. Like when it comes to running, it was so sad. So figured that out, started running post college at this point, because my college running just didn't work out because of that, and moved back home to East Bridgewater, Massachusetts. And then I joined the Greater Boston Track Club and ran with them for a little bit until about COVID, and kind of realized at that point that I don't know if it's just like mental toughness, but there's something about like just running around in a circle and looking at the clock. And it's just like there's not enough variables in the race for me. Like it's just all on me, and I couldn't deal with it. So that's kind of when, I think it was like 2021 or 2022, that I started getting more into trail running, and just kind of started with like the USATF mountain circuit in New England. So like just some shorter distances, Love Loon, one of my favorites. And then last year at Hyner, that was my first like step into 21, 25K distances. And now I'm hooked and I love it.
So your 25K is kind of your upper distance for trail running?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I love it.
So it was fun last year. And when it comes to my connection with the area, because I am from Massachusetts, my mom's family is from Renova. So I've visited my grandma out there. We would stay with her specifically during April vacation. So this race was always going on when we were out there. My dad's a big runner, so he would do it. And as a kid, I watched him do it a few times and thought it was the coolest thing ever. So that's why in high school, I was like, I'll do it, and walked the whole thing. But then the reason that I really wanted to get back into it was just because my grandma ended up getting diagnosed with cancer in 2023. And one of the last times that I was out there to visit her was in February that year. And it was just like pretty heavy. She was dealing with like end of life care, and there was like the DNR on the refrigerator.
Mm.
It was just a lot. So I kind of stepped out and I was like, I'm just going to go for a run. I just want to go in the woods and clear my head. And I didn't really know where to run in the woods around there, except for like I Googled like the Hyner course and just kind of ran part of it. And when I was doing that, that's when I like told myself, I'm like, I want to do this every year so that I can still incorporate this area and like a place that she loved so much into my life and kind of make my own traditions past her and just, appreciate the area as much as she did. So I actually registered last year. I registered for the race that was last year on the drive back to Massachusetts after her funeral.
Wow.
And oh, my Google Home is talking. But yeah, so I did it last year was my first year doing it, and then that's kind of what kicked off the longer distances for me. So yeah.
Wow.
Alicia, that's amazing.
Mhm.
Just absolutely amazing to hear. And I think that when we get into some of the race and some of the takeaways that people have from the race, I mean, I think your story is uncommon, but also there are a lot of people that are really connected to this race and this area, and these trails in a way that is different than a lot of other areas. And just thanks so much for sharing that part of your story. That's it's really profound.
Yeah, that is amazing, Alicia. And I do think the one thing I do think that is a commonality is the nature and the mountains and the woods and specifically, at least for me, and I know a lot of others share in the commonality of clarity, gaining a sense of clarity from being outside. And there's really not much like it. Much like Andrew, I grew up in the woods and I've always sort of had that, that appreciation for it. So, again, thank you for sharing that story. I think that's, really amazing, but I do think that is common amongst a lot of trail runners, outdoor enthusiasts, is the clarity that you can sort of take from being out there. So yeah, I appreciate that. That's great. Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes transitions don't work perfectly, but another person here with some very strong PA roots who comes back to Pennsylvania to race and do a trail run with some some mortals and things like that from time to time, is Mr. Noah Dusseau. Right, our 50K men's champion, now a new course record holder there at Hyner, sharing the trails here with Andrew and Alicia. And Noah, you have some roots here in PA. I don't know whether they're roots because you're from mushroom country. It's more of a
loose soil.
Yeah.
Oh boy! Wow. I feel like I'm the dad joke guy, but Sam, you're you're quick tonight, man. I love it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But Noah, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us here tonight.
Yep.
Tell us about your connections here, and what brought the cow back east.
Yeah. Great to talk. So I'm from Chester County, Pennsylvania. Grew up running in the poop flavored air down there, and I really started running because my parents started when I was in elementary school. They'd gotten to running, and then it just kind of evolved to I'll try that. I love doing cross country. I also did track. Didn't like it as much. Just liked being outside. And then I went to college in Atlanta. Didn't really do any big competing. I joined a frat, so I kind of just partied and had fun in college. Did some running, and then towards the end, I did the Philly Marathon. It was my first marathon. And from there, my dad convinced me to run Mason-Dixon shortest day, which is 36 miler along the Mason-Dixon Trail, Pennsylvania. That was my first ultra, and I just kind of fell in love from there. And then, yeah, once I graduated, I moved to Seattle, which is where I live now. And really from there, my like trail experience kind of exploded. Just like immediately met this really great trail collective in Seattle called Cowgill, which is why I wear the cow shorts and rep the cow gear all the time. Just have a great community and like just so many cool places to explore out here. But I love just going back to Pennsylvania and running the home trails. I wanted to run Hyner last year, but I was injured, so coming back this year was like I was really really pumped to be like ready to run it. My parents ran it last year. My mom did the 25K this year, and she said to tell her to never sign up again for Hyner. So I'm glad I got to do it when she was running it. Yeah,
That's pretty
the
cool
Yeah.
that you and your mom both did it today. I mean, we've got,
Yeah.
Alicia, you did it. You said you did with your dad.
This year my dad did it with me, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Mhm.
cool to have, like families out there doing it together. That's really awesome. I don't think I'm getting my parents out for it, but I do think it's really, really cool that
Yeah.
that you guys are out there doing it. I saw Noah welcoming his mom in from the race, and I just I took a moment with that to just like absorb it. I was like, that's pretty darn cool.
Really cool. Yeah, really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so anyway, it's awesome to meet you guys all here and to get this going. Let's start talking about race day and like how it went, how it felt out there, how you guys prepared. We can compare notes on things, shoot it back and forth. Don't feel that you need to wait for Chris or I to interject. You can ask each other questions, all kinds of stuff like that. Um, let's start with Alicia and your training coming in. You said you're kind of a flatlander. This is not flat land. Uh,
Yeah, so the only area that's like close enough to me to regularly train at would be the Blue Hills State Park, which is like just outside of Boston. And it's surprisingly pretty good. Like the biggest hill there is 600 feet. And it's a lot of like just kind of rolling hills like that. Nothing is bigger than 600 feet. But it's really technical and you can get a lot of good miles in there. So that's where I train most of the time. And then whenever I get the chance, I always try to go up to New Hampshire. I'm there a decent amount of time and I try to get some runs in there. But this year I definitely struggled with the weather. I don't know how it was for you guys, but around me, I was up in New Hampshire April 5th and there was still ice and snow above like 2,000 feet. So I definitely struggled to get like the longer, like the bigger climbs, the bigger descents. And I didn't really realize that until the first descent in the race. And it just wrecked my quads completely. So at that point, it was really just about like doing the best I could. But yeah, it was an element of the race I wasn't like expecting because I was kind of just going off of like my experience with trail running in general. And I know this is a tough race, but I was like, yeah, I'll be like conservative the first hill, just there's so much of the race left. We'll just kind of see how it goes. And after the first descent, I was like, oh, all right. We're just running with the jello legs the rest of the race.
Survival mode. It's all about survival mode. Yeah.
When you're saying first descent, are you talking about off of the view down to Johnson's Run?
Yes.
Yeah,
that
first
one.
major descent.
Yeah, it was like a mile long or something like that. And it was just that really just got me.
Yeah.
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 Andrew, how'd you feel coming off of that? You were out front. How did you?
Yeah, so I was feeling it. I had run the View back in November, which is basically the Hyner course, but instead of going, you don't run the downhill from the view. You stay up on top on the ridge.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's the same. So I knew kind of going up the view that it was going to be a bit of a rough day. Just my heart rate was way higher than it should have been, and I had a few splits from when I'd run it before, and I was like, oh boy, I'm way off here. But it's like, oh well, it is what it is today, and every race is different, so just see what I can do. But I got up to the top with the view there. Lipsy's dog Skeeter tried to take me out. He was the first one to greet me.
Yeah, he tried to take a few of us out.
Yeah, I think Skeeter photobombed all those pictures at the top there.
Well, I think Lipsy knows you're a strong runner. Andrew, obviously, he had alluded, he had given us some inside info on the last pod. And I think he was probably trying to sabotage you a little bit because he's got the course record there. So he's like, yeah, I can't let this go down. You know, we got to have
that does check out.
Yeah, exactly.
Check out.
Yeah, we got
something he would do.
Yeah. Let's accidentally let his dog off the leash.
Honestly, I was he told me that he wasn't racing, but I was half expecting to show up and see him on the line anyways. So he was messing with my head a little bit. It's in character for him.
Well, man, I tell you, you finished the race out very nicely. Again, especially with the heat, it's very, very difficult after you ascend the first 2,000 feet. Right, your heart rate is just absolutely pinned, and there's really no reprieve. And couple that with the heat, it's very difficult. So I'm looking at the 25K times. They were way high due to the heat, for sure. You can't let off. There's no way to let off the gas. There's no place to coast there. So, I think that time that you ran would have been much faster, given a cooler day.
It's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, every day is different. It's different than running on the track where you can have hot days, but
you
getting it off your PR is a bad day.
You're being humble.
Racing, it's all over. So
you're being humble. I'll say that it for sure affected the time. So it was a heck of a race. Were you out in front most of the race?
Yeah.
Did you see anybody else?
After we got onto the bridge, I kind of took it. I am fairly comfortable just coming from the track, road, cross country scene to take it out. Maybe a little bit faster than people with a pure trail running background. And it be comfortable for me. And I kind of just decided, well, I'm gonna run my own race. And if people want to come with me, they can. So I kind of took it out from there. Didn't really look back. I was dealing with a bit of an injury coming into Hyner, so I wasn't sure about that. I actually was considering dropping out on Johnson Run. It started acting up on me, and I was power hiking a ton, and just going way slower than I knew I wanted to be going. But I wasn't getting caught. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to reset, see how long I can keep going. And I got to the top, and it got to the little more flat and runnable section into a downhill. And I was able to get moving again. And I just kept going from there. But Johnson Run was kind of a tough section for me. I was like 40 minutes in, and it was like, I have a long way to go, and I don't know if I can make it. So that was it was interesting.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to ask what the tough sections were for everybody. I also had I felt like Johnson's Run was really hard. It was hard to get anything going, is what it felt like, because you're just like back and forth across those streams. Like it's fairly choppy. You're like, this isn't even, am I going uphill? For a good section of it, but you're like not going very fast at all. And then it starts really climbing up. I found that really challenging. Sounds like you did too, Andrew. Alicia, what were the most challenging parts of the 25K course for you?
Same part. So I feel like I have to explain this race and talk about the last year's race, because last year I felt like I had a way better like build up into the race. I just did like a lot longer long runs to get prepared for it, and I felt comfortable with the distance and the elevation gain. But like a few days before the race, I got the flu, and my family was coming out to watch me, and I was like, I have to do it. Like again, it's more meaning than just finishing the race for me. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna suck it up. And I thought that I thought it felt super hard, and I thought it was because I was so sick. And then this year in that same area, I relate to like I didn't realize I was going uphill. I thought I was just being very sluggish, and I was like, I cannot move. And I was kind of in no man's land. There was no one around me. And at that point, I kind of like laughed to myself, because I was like, I feel the same way I did last year. Like it did not matter that I had the flu. It's just a really tough section for me. And I, at that point, was kind of like, I need to apologize to the race for just not like respecting how challenging it was, and kind of blaming it last year on just being sick. This year I was like, oh no, this is just a really, really tough race. So yeah, I agree. That was the hardest part for me as well.
Yeah. It was shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way around it. It's like 2.5 miles of very choppy, up and down. You're stepping off of these really deep cut stream beds, right? So you're continuing to cross, many of which don't really have any footing in which to cross. So you're right. There's no way to find a groove, and you just sort of have to see it through. Almost like Andrew, you mentioned you were power hiking, and to run a 221 and like power hike on, that's saying something. Like it beats you up. And I know you were dealing with an injury, but boy, there's no way to get any type of rhythm there. You just sort of have to survive. I think probably everybody, but I don't know, maybe Lipsy just survives that section, until you really can't find a way like, okay, what's the technique to run this? Just get through it. You just survive it. Survive it to the top with a little bit more runnable, sections ahead, at least for about a mile. But yeah, that is Johnson's run is a bear. It's a real bear. So, did we lose Noah? Is Noah still with? Noah, are you there?
It looks like Noah back here, and Justin.
Sorry, my phone overheated and it just turned off. So,
sounds like most of us.
Yeah.
During the race,
except maybe Noah.
Yeah. So the one person who didn't overheat completely and went and took down, I think, a solid course record. I mean, someone who would have, handed me my ass, and actually who has several times.
Yeah, I've fallen victim a couple times as well. So,
So, but Noah, so you ran the 50K, had, I think, like from our perspective, quite a good day out there. Tell us how your race unfolded, what the challenges were, the places or parts of the course that you really appreciated, some key moments there.
So like going into this race, my goal was just to like have fun and like enjoy the race was my like primary goal. And I think I did that pretty well. Like going into this race, I felt like there wasn't a ton of pressure for myself because I had been coming off of a kind of a series of like not great races. And I did take the first climb pretty hard inadvertently, and I will say I am kind of fortunate that I do have areas in Seattle where I can practice like those long climbs, like Alicia was saying. Like to me, that wasn't as big of a challenge because I'm used to like really solidly long climbs out here. So I took the first climb out hard, and I kind of had the lead from that point at the top of the view. At one point, there was someone following me down the first descent into the Hyner Run aid station, and I was a little nervous. Kind of went through that aid station quickly, but after the next climb, I was pretty much by myself the whole day, and I I survived pretty well in heat. I think I don't track my sodium levels really critically, but I do take a lot of salt, and that seemed to help me the whole day, and never really felt like I had a super low moment. Yeah, it was just a great day all around.
No, I really wanted to ask you this, and coming from, a flatter, like, southeastern Pennsylvania, where, we struggle to get like 2,000 miles in like a, training session, right? So you have that knowledge and that understanding of how difficult that is. And then moving out to the Northwest where you can train at elevation. From what I understand, training at elevation can mimic heat training, in regard to the oxygen level, blood oxygen levels. Have you seen a difference as far as, and I don't know if you even pay attention to this, but let's just take, Black Canyon, for instance. I know you've had a couple super solid races at Black Canyon. Do you see that elevation training mimicking heat training and that adaptability, or is it more of, hey, I'm just sort of naturally pretty comfortable running in the heat?
I believe that elevation training does help heat.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Seattle is like by no means a place to get elevation training. Like the highest I can get is probably like
Yeah.
6,000-7,000 at the top of a peak. That's not really what you need,
Gotcha.
like way higher than that.
Yeah.
I don't really do great in elevation. I did run that
Okay.
run, and I basically couldn't breathe at the end.
Okay.
But I think some people just are born with an ability to handle heat, and that allows them to do
Mm-hmm.
well. But I also think
Mm-hmm.
there is some adaptations you can get from heat training, elevation training that may help
Yeah.
someone who's not as naturally
Yeah.
gifted with that. So I think I'm just
Gotcha.
lucky.
Yeah. Hey man, you knocked it out of the park. It was a really amazing race. I knew you. I figured talking to you at the start line. I'm like, all right, he seems really relaxed and comfortable and and confident. I'm like, I'm sure he'll have a great race, And then seeing you come in like sprinting into the finish, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's remarkable, man. You nipped that course record by like about a minute, and
Yeah.
wow, that course record was set on a pretty perfect conditions last year, frankly. So
Yeah.
to take that course record down in a super hot year was impressive, man. Congrats on that race. That was an
Thank you.
accomplishment.
I didn't really
Yeah.
even know I was
Oh yeah.
well, when I knew it was at the record when I came back on the road, and that's kind of where I kicked into gear. I was like, oh, a few more minutes, I could probably get it. But yeah, I knew that was possible if I had a great day. So I was happy to get it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was pretty sure I was off the record as I saw it pass when I crested SOB.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about sort of maybe we can start here with Noah kind of going back through this, but talking about trail running culture, right? Because that's one of the things at Hyner that is such a big deal is the culture of Hyner. There are people at Hyner that you will not see at any other trail race, right? There is a net that is cast there that is pretty unique. But the reason I want to start with Noah is because you have insights into the trail running culture on the West Coast, what that community is like. Um, you know, talk about where you see like differences, similarities, things like that. The things that you appreciate about the East Coast part and the West Coast part of these communities.
I think both coasts have great communities. There's definitely some differences, like out here in the West Coast, at least in Seattle. A lot of people I think are like people who have moved to Seattle by themselves or with like their close family. I mean, the community I'm in is a lot younger people and just people who have moved here. Whereas like East Coast and Hyner, I feel like it's more like family oriented. Like there's a lot more like the whole family's involved in some way. Like I met someone at the start line. He's like, "Oh yeah, my dad makes the food for this race." Like I feel like it's a lot more, yeah, family involvement in the races, which I think is cool. And like my dad, like he's a race director for some small trail races in Pennsylvania, and like it's just a lot more, I think, like well knit in the East Coast between the races and. But like the West Coast, the vibes are also just as good, but they're in their own unique way. Um, you have stunning places you can run in, but also just like really down to earth people that kind of come from all over the place too.
Yeah. Yeah, they have the sort of meccas out there, and where that everybody kind of gets drawn to, and then we have our little mecca of Heiner out here. What Andrew and Alicia, I'm going to kind of put this out to you guys, as far as were there things that were surprising to you about the race? Were there things that, like, I don't know, like kind of like touched you in sort of interesting ways or things like that? So kind of put it out to you there.
Yeah, I think, I mean, just trail running communities in general are just the best. Just like going from cross country, track, road, there's just something special about people that love to do trail running. So walking in, you're already dealing with that. And then kind of like what Noah said, I do feel like Heiner is definitely more like tightly knit when it comes to families. Like how he said someone's dad prepared the food. My aunt Fifth runs the cake table. So it's
Oh
like,
man,
yeah.
Nice.
the cake table, the famous
Yeah.
cake table.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. So just that. And I feel like the best way to explain it is my fiance is not a runner, not a trail runner. Everything he's learned is just from me the last few years. And when I separated to do my warm up, he was just kind of like hanging around. And when I came back over to him, he was just like, everyone here is so nice. Like everyone I've talked to is just so kind. And he's been to a bunch of races, but it's usually never to that extent where he's like shocked by just how nice and welcoming everyone is. It's a cool vibe. I just love it. There's just something special about it.
Have to
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, how about you, man? I know you've been, running for a while, but sort of found trails more recently. Anything specific about Heiner or just the trail running community?
Hyner is wild,
It is.
like wild, wild. Yeah, it's cool to have that many people in a race, and then just so many of them not really run other races. Like they might run casually, they might be hikers, but like they show up and do Heiner. I I got there at like 10 o'clock on Friday night looking for the porta pots, wandering around. There's a tent, ask for directions, and they're all this bunch of people sitting around the campfire drinking beer the night before the race. And they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, what do you need? You need a beer? You need a beer?" It's like, "This is how you win the race." And I was like, "Oh, I mean, tomorrow, same time, I'll be here." But uh, they were pretty sure that's how you won. I didn't partake and I won. But I mean, maybe next time I'll give it a go to see if that's also right.
I think you made the right call.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a safe bet. But
that's
it's just
great.
cool community. Craig puts on an awesome event. I have to give my wife a shout out. She signed up for decided she wanted to run it the morning of. I like just went to the timer. They're like, "Yeah, you want to sign up? Sure." So we signed up, jumped in the race. Like that's not happening anywhere else.
No.
It's pretty cool. They're just be able to like jump in. There's other people doing it too. Just like the more the merrier. A lot of kids running too, which is so cool to see these 10, 11, 12-year-old kids just doing it with their family, doing it with their parents. Very unique to Hyner, and just makes trail running so cool.
Yeah, I mean, so, sort of the comment about there are people that come to Hyner that probably aren't coming to any other races around, or maybe they're coming to PA trail dog races, a few different things. And for me, growing up in the Amish community, so I grew up in southern Lancaster County, around the Amish and Mennonite communities for a long time, not being really part of that community myself, but seeing them come out to races and taking part in these events, seeing an Amish dad come in with his kids through the finish line, was something like really spectacular for me. And I mean, I know they're not out there doing it for me; they're doing it for them. But that this running community, right, has got so, I mean, it's broad. I'm not going to say big, but it's so broad in its reach. It's such a cool thing that we have participants from people who would not compete in any other sport. I've run all across Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I've never seen kind of participation, right? So it's something different. And I don't want to, make it a novelty or any sort of thing like that. But I think it's really cool that happens. Just love this community so much.
Yeah. It's such an inclusive environment, really is, and very encouraging, and I think it's it's very pure too. Running is the most pure sport. You need a pair of shoes, or in many cases, not shoes, right?
A couple of those out there, I think.
Keegan,
Yep.
if you're listening, right? But it's just so pure that anybody from any background, any religion, it is just a very inclusive environment, and I think that is captured at a place like Hyner. Because it is, it's like the mecca of PA trail running, right? So you see this melting pot and this blend, of really people from different walks of life, and someone alluded to this. Everybody, not everybody is there for the same reason. I think you mentioned this. It's you have people at the pointy end of the race, which are there to compete, right? Well, not everybody's there for the same reason. And I think that's what makes it so, oh boy, I don't even know I can't really find the word, but it makes it so special because people are there everybody's there, with a different journey in mind. Everybody's looking for something different, right? And I think everybody takes something different out of that, right? Not necessarily just Hyner as an event, but trail running in general. So that when you blend the community together, and just like we're trying to capture with this podcast, is blending communities together, communities of runners together. And maybe there are people that are listening that aren't runners, but maybe they they'll find running in the future. Hey, this seems like a cool thing. How do I get into that? It's special. There's nothing like it. There's no sport like it. To me, there's no activity like it. Everybody's looking, in this, finding their own way. So, seeing that and capturing that at the finish line at Hyner, it's like something special, man. It just really is. So, an event that Saturday at like, I'm not going to make this about me here, but I've had some difficult Hyner races, right? This was my third time up there. 2022, I felt pretty good, but I didn't know how to race the thing. 2023, I had an awful race, right? This past year, our second child was born, so I wasn't going to leave my wife with a few-day-year-old and a 4-year-old. Come back this year, really had no business running the race. But I think if it was almost any other race, I would not have gone. I mean, I'm really there for the event. And even after that disappointment of a DNF and that walk of shame or hobble of shame, right? Back to the start finish line. Like, I took my bib off on the way back. So I'm like, I don't want anybody to know that I'm just DNF'd, right? But then immediately coming back to that start finish line and talking to Sam and Andrew, like, coming up and introducing himself, getting to see Noah finish, and then just starting to feel that community vibe again. I felt like I was like almost so embarrassed. I'm like, oh man, I don't deserve to go up and like, I didn't finish this race. I like, can I eat any of this food? Where normally I'm like, oh, this is great. This is all this amazing. So the community sort of just, that really let down from a DNF, like the vibe and the community and the atmosphere really evaporates that feeling. So, yeah, a day that, hey, you have days like that, but again, you go up there for the community. You go up there to race, sure, but you go up there for the community for sure. So, yeah, it's a spectacular thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. As we're closing in on an hour here, I don't know whether Karen's going to be able to join us or not. I haven't seen any messages come in from her just yet. But I wanted to talk about a little bit about what Alicia, Andrew, and Noah, what your schedules look like, what your goals are. Do you have big goals in trail running? Do you have little goals in trail running? Like what are the things that you want to do? Let's start into that. Alicia, let's start with you.
Yeah, so most of the time my goals are just happy to be there. Like, just have fun, enjoy it. That's kind of what the whole point of it is. I find that if I put too many goals on myself, that's when I kind of like crack under the pressure.
Mm.
So, yeah, one thing I did want to touch on is my time for this past race. I have like unfinished business with this race for sure. Just running my time. It was like the heat. I had an injury that I was dealing with at the end of last year. So like it just that affected my training, all of that. So um one goal I definitely do have right now is to come back and prove something to myself, at least, that I can run times I think I can run, because I was definitely not super pumped about that. I know the heat played a factor, but it was still not my best showing. And so I definitely think,
You ran last year as well, right?
yeah. So
Did you run faster last year?
yes, sick.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, yeah.
So that was my loose goal that I had this year. I'm like, because I thought it was a given. I'm like, oh, I'll just run faster than I did with the flu. Obviously, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I made
Oh,
sure I
here.
did check my time during the race, because I'm like, I don't want to know. If I'm faster, that's great. If I'm not, I don't want to know. And right when I finished, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, so I know, like, I was pretty confident going into last year with my training that I could be like sub 2:45, and I still have that feeling. So I would like to come back and at least prove something to myself. Just I have to. um, and then goals for this year at least. I definitely have a bunch of races on the calendar. My next one's Breakneck Point in New York. I did that one last year. It was crazy and I loved
Full or
it.
the half?
The half.
Doing the half. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
there.
I had my first major wipeout there last year, like finished crying and like blood everywhere, and I loved it. Just because I don't know. I feel like if like trail like it just that's how trail running should be. I feel like it's just like you push through and then I don't know, type 2 fun, I guess. So I'm excited to do that one again. The Cirque series is coming to the east, so I'm excited to try that one in Killington. And then Loon, one of my favorites. So it's really just this year, it's kind of just definitely more focused on just happy to be there, have fun. I'm wedding planning, and that is a full-time job, I've realized, and just puts a lot of stress. And I actually was talking with my coach before this race, just kind of realizing that this might not be the year to really prioritize running as much as I have in the past. And it might be one of those years where like I kind of have to take a step back a little bit, still do the races, but just it might not be what I want it to be. But since the race, I'm kind of remotivated where I'm like, no, I want to do this. So yeah, that's kind of leaving it open-ended, not really sure what's gonna happen.
Can we ask who you're coached by?
Yes, Rachel, and I'm probably gonna mispronounce her last name. Tomajic. I should
Oh,
probably know how to say it.
yeah.
But yeah, I met her at Loon a couple years ago, and just sent a message to anyone that beat me at that race, and I was like, "How do you know how to train for trail races?" Like, I was only doing road at that point, and I thought I finished pretty good for not having any experience with it. So I was like, I need to know how these people know what they're doing. And some people didn't answer, but she did answer. She was like, I actually coach people. So I've been working with her the last few years, and she's the best. And she's the reason that I'm here, which is
And
awesome.
she's a sub ultra specialist, right? That's kind
Yes.
of her bread and butter. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. Very cool. I didn't know that she coached as well. That's awesome.
Mhm.
So Andrew, how about you? What's on the horizon?
Yeah. So right now, trying to nurse a bit of injury, get healthy again. Um, yeah. And hopefully the plan right now, is to do Sunapee Scramble June 1st, which is a world's qualifier and I think the like national championship, for the classic discipline. Um,
That's the
yeah.
up down. Would it be up down up down?
Up down.
Okay.
I think it's like a two loop course, like nine-ish miles and 3,000 feet of climbing. Um,
Oh, so that's quick. Yeah.
yeah, so it's just a short, hard race. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my doors blown off, by a bunch of pros. But it's fun. I like the being competitive races.
Yeah.
And to see how much I can push myself and get humbled, and it's fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And then end of June, I'm going out hopefully to Broken Arrow, to do the VK there, which is also, national championship and world's qualifier for, the VK.
We'll have to touch base on Broken Arrow training. I've been out to the spring
Okay. Oh, have you been out
all
there?
iterations of it and
Okay.
had very different experiences. Um,
I need some tips then. I don't
yeah,
really know what I'm doing.
do your
Um,
heat training, that's for sure.
yeah, I've started doing that this week, so that will
Yeah.
be that'll be fun. But doing Broken Arrow, so trying to do some shorter stuff, just experience some competitive races, put myself in there, see what happens. And then this summer, Not sure. Probably do some more local-ish races in like the Northeast. Nothing is set in stone. Maybe escarpment I would like to do at some point. Whiteface loon. I don't know. Mix of stuff. I don't know what I'll end up doing. But some different ideas. And going into the fall, I am slightly ultra curious. I hesitate putting this out there. Thinking about doing JFK potentially.
Yes.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'd probably do a 50K before it. Maybe grindstone or something else.
Grindstone is a 50K?
Yeah, grindstone 50K or something else. I don't know. I'm curious to try something longer. But that's a ways away, and I'm mostly just focused on Sunapee and Broken Arrow right now, and trying to get healthy. So
yeah.
It's enough focuses, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of fun. Right, both Alicia and Andrew, you guys both have pretty well planned out at least until end of summer, which is awesome. You guys are going to be racing. Fingers crossed here, everything goes well. You guys are going to be racing a good amount. So that's fun to hear.
I forgot to mention Sunapee. I'm planning on doing that too, so I might see you there.
Hey.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So here's another connection. It's what the podcast is created for, right?
Making connections.
Making connections,
Noah,
exactly.
You there, buddy? I see you're on mute. Are you able to talk to us here, Noah? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Wanted to get Noah's schedule here. I know that he is headed out to Western States. He's going to be doing some pacing duties there for String Bean. I was hoping to see them out there. Unfortunately, my I guess it would be my bronze ticket to Western States, not my golden ticket. But my ticket to the last 40 miles of Western State has now closed as my dear friend had to withdraw with injury. But I was going to be doing pacing duties for the last 40 miles of Western States, but will not be unless somebody else calls me up. But
public service. Yeah. That's what this whole episode was about. It's just Sam's, public service announcement here. Anybody, somebody.
Noah, are you there, buddy? Maybe not. Maybe we're nearing the end here for us all.
Yeah.
Noah, double Noah. Triple Noah.
What's going on?
Are you there, Noah? I'm not editing any of this. It's just going to be me talking. Yeah. Well, let's start to close it up here, guys. I know that us East Coasters are probably hoping to go to bed here pretty soon. Really, just thank you all so much for joining us and sharing your journeys, takeaways from Hyner, and where we can look for you, moving forward. Really excited to follow you guys at these East Coast mountain races.
Yeah.
Especially Alicia up at Breakneck Point. That is one of my favorite races, and if I can get up there and volunteer, I'll be, I don't know, directing people at one turn or something. Who knows?
Oh boy.
Who knows?
Well, at least Sam, you're good at that. I'm not so good at directing people which way to go in a trail race. So hopefully you don't see me up there directing people. Yeah, I tend to get lost. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. It's awesome to hear your backstory, your stories. Really amazing races, both, all of you, on a unseasonably hot year. on a very difficult course. So congratulations. Congratulations, and good luck with the future races on the calendar, and stay healthy. Stay healthy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's fun.
Absolutely.
Good to chat.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's all out here having fun, sharing the love, and that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Without further ado, just thank you to everybody, everybody who listened, everybody who volunteered out at the race, everybody who participated, and everybody who is part of our trail running community here. So for all of us here, happy trails.